Memory and time, a misunderstood relationship. There is not the slightest doubt that at some point the road to teleosis completion for each one of us will reach its end. But the road of teleosis is not a road of a certain distance. It is the totality of the accumulated elements that we have gained in life at the time we pass the gate of the afterlife. You see, life is not something that lasts forever, of course, for some lasts longer than others, but eventually it comes to an end. It's impossible to know what happens next, or even if there will be any continuation. But one thing is for sure, that when that moment comes, I would like to have in my life's baggage those endowments that will allow me any kind of continuation. If I step back and reflect on the nature of these elements, I will automatically discard all the material goods that I have gained in my life. The remaining elements are what compose our brain and determine the quality of our emotions. Could this quality be the expression of our mind in everyday life? For me, it is exactly that. The reason we want to avoid pain is that we have learned from experience that repeating actions similar to ones that caused us pain before will lead to the same outcome. If we don't remember, we'll probably make the same mistake again. So memory determines our existence. We will take this memory with us. Remembrance is what they refer to in the death ceremonies, when they ask the one who is departing not to drink from the water of the spring of Lethe. When we say memory, what exactly do we mean? I would say that there are two kinds of memories, the living memories and the photographic ones. The latter rarely create conditions for improving our quality as human beings. If you've just heard something, at best you're making a picture without content. What is the element that creates vivid memories? The combination of emotion and time. Let's look at some examples. Among those you love are your wife, your children, your mother, your father, your siblings. Your love for the dogs that accompanied you in your life is clear. You love your friends, their wives, their children. You have a great affection for your country. You love the sunrise, the sunset, as well as the moon at night. The ideas that flood you, the moments of peace that you experience. You come to love even your enemies. Behind all this, there is one single force, the force of creation, the force of attraction. And yes, to beat you to it, we humans use many words to name it. There is something, though, that almost never crosses our minds, the relationship of time with the above. My sister was someone I loved dearly when we were little. I still love her, but differently. I had a deep affection for my childhood girl. She lived in my heart. Now I want her to be well. What I mean is that when we reflect on some old feelings, if we don't tie them to that time, it is impossible to remember them in the magnitude that befits them. And when for present reasons we deny them, we deny not only those, but also time. In other words, we divide our lives into fragments and discard them without giving them proper value. Where do the above hide? And more importantly, why should they be hidden? I am not deceiving my current friends if I carry in my soul the memories of former friendships. This applies to all cases. So why do we feel bad if we have to admit such a thing? The answer lies in the biggest and most vulgar position that modern society has adopted. What will people say? Unfortunately, we do not have the courage to delete this prospect from our lives. This deprives us of the right to claim the continuity of our path towards teleosis, because we are simply cutting off living pieces of our being and throwing them into the trash. To complete the picture I am describing, the same applies to another category of emotions, I will mention them simply epigrammatically: fear, hatred, anger, etc. It is in the now that they are softened and overcome. The denial of emotions is also a denial of life. We live our lives chasing for no reason a life supposedly more comfortable, supposedly more humane. We throw in the garbage human working hours to buy an expensive car that, if we had used in a different way, they could give us new precious moments. Should we, in addition, throw away the hours where we enjoyed our feelings? If we do, what will be left at the end? I think it is obvious that what we accept and what we deny are both part of our soul. But there is something even more important. The human embarked on a journey throughout the universe by trying to build a material form and stabilize it, so that through it he could begin his journey to Theosis, to completion. In many places this has stabilized to a large extent and is ready for the second stage. It will continue to stabilize, but to a tiny extent. In other parts of the world, it is still in its infancy. The second phase of the effort is the stabilization of the soul, but we are fighting this as individualized units. In the material unit, a transcendent state of the ego is established and directs it toward the required stability. It helps it to eliminate negations and live in positive ideas. Here, the fight has two goals. The goal is to stabilize both the individual and collective soul of humanity in order to win this phase. If the individual wins it, then on another level of consciousness, his ego will pour into the sea of consciousness there, enriching it with his experiences. If he doesn't succeed, whatever bit it gained will pour into the soul matter for newly born humans to use. So this phase will never end. Despite the increasing stability of the mental form in new generations, there is still potential for further improvement. Let's not forget that in many cases the material form is destroyed because of natural causes. So, it has to start from the beginning. It's possible that the desire to populate many planets stems from this factor. There is no need to refer now to the third step. I want to emphasize the importance of the second phase. The struggle is the possibility of the transcendental ego to return to its source and be absorbed into the consciousness there. That is what it is actually fighting for. As the saying goes, the pot is watered along with the flower, and the pot is the idea of a humanity trying to stabilize its soul. We, as individuals, will stand and apologize for our effort. What we will testify as evidence are the living memories. So let's be careful and carry them with us.